tonight on Elon Local News.
Honoring Dr. King. Hear how the Elon community is commemorating his legacy this year.
Tracking Izzy. The snow we've seen may not be the last in this week's forecast.
Healing through unity. Elon's Jewish community response to the synagogue hostage situation in Texas.
Those stories and more.
Elon Local News starts now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our winter term special. I'm Naomi Washington.
And I'm Jenna Mandarioli. We begin tonight with some coronavirus updates. As of yesterday, Elon reported nearly 170 active COVID-19 cases. This includes 130 students and almost 40 faculty members. As the Omicron variant, a more transmissible strain of the virus, increases cases across the nation and on campus, some students, like sophomore Rachel Melanated, are concerned about the safety in the classroom and the lack of hybrid options.
It's the university's role. It's their responsibility to keep up with all of us, and I feel like they're not doing that.
Elon has not yet implemented any additional safety measures since last week's surge in positive cases, but is prepared to do so. Sophomore Danny Gutierrez says as more of the Elon community received their booster, he will feel more comfortable on campus.
If the majority of campus was boosted, I would see no issue with there being no regulation of campus activities and having people coming in and out without being tested before they come back.
The deadline for students to receive their booster shot and upload documentation is 2 weeks from now. Booster clinics continue to be held on campus over the next few weeks. For more information and to register to get boosted, visit the link below on your screen.
Alamance County remains a high transmission area for COVID-19. Rising case counts are contributing to the nursing shortage in Alamance County and across the nation. According to Chief Nurse Executive Cone Health Kenneth Remper, emergency departments in the area have had to put a cap on the number of patients they treat because there aren't enough nurses to treat the demand.
This is very unusual now at this third, fourth, fifth stage of the surge, that it's even more challenging to fill the positions because the impact that the overall pandemic has had on the emotional health and the physical health of a lot of our care providers, not only nurses, but other professionals at the bedside.
Remper encourages those in the community to do what they can to prevent the spread in hopes of keeping individuals out of hospitals.
The more we can prevent the need for the healthcare services, the less the demand is on a very limited supply. So that would be a gift from the public. If we could increase vaccinations and mask wearing, that would be wonderful.
Remper reminds everyone to get vaccinated, wear a mask, and wash your hands.
The Jewish community on campus is still healing from Saturday's events when a British citizen took 4 hostages at the Congregation Beth Israel Synagogue in Colleyville, Texas. The man was in the synagogue for 11 hours before an FBI hostage rescue team entered the synagogue, killing the suspect. On campus, Rabbi Mendy Minkowitz says he did not see the news until Saturday night, but when he began to understand what was occurring, he said one of his first thoughts was, "Are we doing this again?"
It's sort of something that we have muscle memory for. We have a toolbox that we know to resort to when something like this happens, and we have to band together. We have to, dig deep to find more strength to continue being proud Jews, to not be silent.
Minkowitz has 3 children at home, one of which he says asked him about what was happening. Along with conversations with his children, he has also been in contact with the Jewish community on campus. He says that healing is a very individual process, but it can be achieved by the power of community.
We are comforted by building more, by expanding more. And then it doesn't only mean physical buildings. It means doing more Jewish activities, bringing forth more Jewish pride, and like I said earlier, teaching others about tolerating one another and coming together.
Minkowitz said that starting in the spring, the Chabad Center will be offering a course called Outsmarting Anti-Semitism. The course is not offered through Elon, but is open to all in effort to stop acts of anti-Semitism before it occurs.
Coming up, we look at statewide fallout, what'll freeze over, and more as you head out the door for the rest of this week.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
This year's Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration address was given last week by Hollywood actor B.D. Wong. Wong is an Asian American and openly gay man who spoke to the student body about his intersectionality of his two identities. Before his speech, he sat down with our Caitlin Rundle to talk about his growing sense of identity in the entertainment industry.
I'd love to first start talking about a drama teacher that you talked about being colorblind.
She didn't give me parts that were super racially specific. Like I wasn't playing an African American part in a play about African Americans in which the pain and struggle of African Americans are really a big part of it, and that you really want to not appropriate that experience. But she gave me parts that were more neutral racially, and should be more neutral and should be thought of as more neutral. Like I played the Music Man, okay? So I played the Music Man. Nobody cares what race the Music Man is, really.
Could you just go a little more in depth with what that means to you, this idea of non-traditional casting?
Traditional casting is very narrow-minded casting. Non-traditional casting is anything that takes you outside of that narrow box. And so that includes how abled people are. It depends. It has to do with their race. It has to do with their gender. It has to do with all kinds of things. And then opening those opportunities for other people. Free association. If I say doctor, you think of something in your mind. You might. You're a young person, so maybe you don't. But a lot of people do. And the initial instinct is to push against that.
I would love to kind of skip ahead a little bit into your career and talk about Butterfly. You won a Tony Award. You were the first Asian American to win a Tony Award for a featured actor. Looking back on that now, What do you think about the importance of not only that role, but that award and what it's meant for the theatrical and entertainment community as a whole?
While I always celebrate, and I really, really am very proud of my involvement with that play and with David and with the production and everything that that role brought to me, I'm also grown rather cynical about the long-lastingness of those kinds of events.
Can you go into that a little more? What do you mean by that?
I had a tendency to think that when something groundbreaking happened, something was fixed.
So how important do you think that concept is of just being seen and being able to give opportunities to people who maybe have not had these breaks yet that you have been able to have?
Yeah, you know, thank you for bringing this up, because this is the cycle of our inability to get out of our own bad habits that crosses way outside of the entertainment industry. There was a time in the world when you would say, well, why don't you have more Asian people in your show? And they would say, well, there really aren't any, or they're not good enough. Those two things are very dangerous ideas. There are plenty, and many of them are young enough to just need the experience to be able to compete in a very competitive business.
If you could just kind of sum up some points that you're going to hit on in your speech, how would you kind of sum that up?
There was a time in my life where I thought I was completely outside the argument or the discussion of civil rights. Like, that was for white people and black people, and that I wasn't involved in that. And now, as the discussion of racial equality becomes more complex and more varied and more nuanced, you understand how the racism of one race of people affects and is a part of someone else's. I guess I'm prouder or more happier of the fact that I can participate in this discussion now, and that I bring to it my experience as a person in an industry which highlights racism in a very weird way. Like, you can have discussions about racism at large when you start with a conversation about racism in entertainment.
For the full interview, as well as more on B.D. Wong's time at Elon, visit elonnewsnetwork.com.
MLK Day events continue both locally and on campus. Our Margaret Faust joined us earlier today in Burlington with an updated event schedule.
I am standing next to a memorial of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. outside of a community center in Burlington. The city said that there was going to be an event to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King. However, the doors are locked and nobody is here. The storm and icy conditions may be a contributing factor. However, the university is hosting a series of events tomorrow. The Office of Inclusion, Excellence, Education, and Development, along with the Creed, are going to celebrate Dr. King and the National Day of Healing tomorrow. There will be a special college coffee at noon in McKinnon Hall, a walk for racial healing later in the day, starting in front of the Alamance building, and a How We Heal dinner in Lakeside 212 and 213. There's a chance some of these events might be modified or moved inside if inclement weather conditions continue into tomorrow. But for more information on the events, you can contact the Office of Inclusion, Excellence, Education, and Development. For Elon News Network, I'm Margaret Faust in Burlington.
For more information on these events, you can contact the Office of Inclusive Excellence, Education, and Development with the number at the bottom of your screen.
Melanated Melodies, the first predominantly black a cappella group at Elon, will be performing at College Coffee tomorrow in McKinnon Hall in honor of MLK Day. Queen Asada Stevens founded Melanated Melodies during the pandemic in 2020. She says her inspiration to start this group was to bring black students together on campus.
I think it means a lot for Melanated Melodies to be asked to be performing for MLK Day, especially as a black group. To just be thought of in that way and that highly, I think it's an honor to be able to do that and commemorate him on that day in that way.
Malachi Turnipseed joined Melanated Melodies this past fall and says he is honored to perform for the holiday.
MLK didn't do what he did, we might not have this opportunity now to be on a predominantly white campus and have the opportunity to sing on y'all's show, so it's really important. And we should always, whenever these opportunities arise, to celebrate the fact that we made it, that black people have made it so far in America, that opportunity should be taken.
And Melanated Melodies will be joining us live in the studio later this evening.
You're seeing some of our footage of yesterday's winter storm. Facilities management staff have been working throughout the day today to clear main sidewalks, roadways, and parking lots. Campus Recreation and Elon Dining have adjusted their hours of operation, with the Corey Athletic Center, McEwen Food Hall, and Lakeside Dining Hall all closing at 8 p.m. tonight. The Elon area totaled almost a quarter inch of snow, sleet, and ice yesterday, and temperatures in the low teens. But our Ellis Chandler has more on when this winter weather might begin to melt.
Thanks, Naomi and Jenna. We didn't get as much freezing rain as expected, which is definitely what the weather forecasters were hoping for. Instead, we got sleet, which is a much more solid, dense form of ice, while snow is a lot more delicate and crystallized. So what you're seeing on the ground today is definitely frozen over, but it's because of the sleet and not because of the snowflakes. If you can avoid it, do not drive today, tonight, or even tomorrow. Wind gusts above 15 miles per hour today and tonight make it about 10 degrees cooler than it actually is. So the thermometer may be above freezing, but the wind chill puts us back in the 20s. According to the North Carolina Department of Public Safety and Duke Energy, there's less than 100 power outages in Alamance County at this time, but over 80,000 customers have been served. The worst of the power outages were in western counties headed towards the mountains. A crash killed 2 people on I-95 in Nash County about an hour and 40 minutes east of here near Durham yesterday morning, where a couple from Myrtle Beach died while their SUV crashed when a wintry mix was falling. Last night, a tractor-trailer crashed in Durham and tipped off the overpass above US 15501. The highways were blocked and the truck driver was taken to a hospital for treatment. Looking ahead at the weather back here on campus, temperatures tonight will be back down in the 20s, but the skies should clear up beginning around 8 o'clock or so we're not going to see any more of these gray skies. The sun should make an appearance tomorrow with temperatures in the mid to late afternoons reaching almost 40 degrees, but tomorrow morning heading to class, it could be in those low 20s still. Black ice is definitely going to be something to look out for tomorrow as everything on the ground here refreezes. So if you're headed to class, headed to the dining hall, or even attempting to get back out on the road, make sure you're driving and going very, very safely and giving yourself some time to do so. Wednesday, we'll see temperatures back up in the 50s, but some of the coldest weather of the season is coming in Friday and towards the weekend. So even if we only get rain, we could even see some more snow. It'd be a little too soon to put away your boots and your ice scrapers just yet. Naomi and Jenna, back to you in the very warm studio.
Class scheduled for tomorrow will be delayed to 12 p.m. and most campus offices will not open until then as well.
Well, Jenna, it is so cold outside. It literally feels like however many layers I put on, there's just not enough to make it through those walks across campus.
I stayed in most of the day yesterday just to avoid the cold myself.
Yeah, and I can't lie, the weather is pretty. It's pretty seeing the snow outside. It really is. Elon alum are becoming some of arts and entertainment's newest essential workers. Hear more right after this.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college
college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Panhellenic recruitment will now be virtual for at least 3 of the 5 days due to COVID-19 concerns on campus, and students are quickly adapting to these changes. Elon sophomore Allie McGee is one of many who waited an extra year to do Panhellenic recruitment with hopes of participating in person.
I don't really know. I was like upset, but I was like, oh, there's always next year. Like I always was like, I had hope that like I would be able to have that in-person rush. And now that it's like kind of like been like broke to again, that like I'm gonna miss like another milestone. So that's kind of like upsetting.
Change is impacting how Panhellenic community is preparing for recruitment. It may assist some members who are returning to campus with less than a day before recruitment begins. Grace Morgan is a member of Delta 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 who is studying abroad this month. Before recruitment went virtual, she was worried about making it back to campus on time.
I think I was excited for in person. I was dreading it because of the J-term trip, because that's just a lot of stress coming from Germany to Elon to recruitment. But I thought it'd be much more interesting doing it in person. It was going to be more fun learning and talking to girls who are in person and getting to know them way better than a Zoom computer.
McGee says even if Panhellenic recruitment switches to a fully virtual format, she will still participate. A number of plans for the preference round and bid day are still being considered, and as of now, Interfraternity Council recruitment in early February is still set to be in person.
Breakthrough cases resulting from the Omicron variant is proving that swings, understudies, and standbys are the reason why the show can go on in theaters across the country. From Broadway to national tours, Elon alumni are proving that they're the hidden heroes of theater. Our Ellis Chandler has more.
It's kind of fun to get to feel like you're like saving the day a little bit.
Last week, music theater alum J.J. Neiman got the call to return to his role as a swing performer in the Broadway show The Book of Mormon. He says between injuries and illnesses, swings are more invaluable than ever.
People have to do like 8 shows a week is like literally like the Olympics. You know, not every show is built the same. Some shows are harder than others, maybe some more vocally, some more physically, or emotionally, but like performing on Broadway is like being a pro athlete almost.
The conversation surrounding these performers comes after president of the Broadway League, Charlotte St. Martin, questioned the level of experience understudies and swings have when asked why some shows were seeing more cancellations than others. Music theater alum Hailey Ferrier is an understudy on the Dear Evan Hansen National Tour and says in her experience, the cast of national tours are just as talented as Broadway ones.
But you're seeing people that, like, you don't even know what they'll do in 5 years. You don't know. They could be the lead on Broadway, and you'll be able to say, hey, I saw her when she was in this, and now she's doing this. It's just, like, you never know what those people are going to do. And I would just be thankful for having the opportunity to see them bring a different life to a role.
Music theater alum Jacob Major says the Omicron variant is making theaters realize they should hire more swings. He was recently hired as a swing in a Florida production of Carousel, but the show closed midway due to COVID concerns.
But even that, it's like if COVID had started to kind of cycle through the company, if you have one guy and one girl out of the show, you could do the show, but if you have any more, like, how are you gonna?
Major says moving forward, more of an emphasis on hiring and training more swings could be a possible solution. Ellis Chandler, Elon Local News.
To read more about each of the Elon alumni's experiences, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
After the break, the Melanated Melodies will be joining us in the studio to honor Dr. King.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine.
This is it. First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
Whether it's a short trip or a long haul,
Estimated time, 47 hours.
they will beg,
You're hungry? I'm happy to provide.
they will plead.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
But whatever you do, don't wimp out.
Now you're talking.
Make them buckle up.
He can't hurt.
Remember, safety first. Cheese curls second.
Are you orange?
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over 900 Elon students, faculty, and staff are currently abroad in 38 different winter term study abroad programs, despite the Omicron variant. I spoke to Elon students about their experiences navigating COVID-19 while away from campus. Elon sophomore Gabe Germain tested positive for COVID-19 last week, less than halfway through his program in Costa Rica. There, the quarantine guidelines remain at 10 days in isolation. Germain is now quarantining in his host family's home while the rest of his classmates continue on with the program's schedule.
So I get meals from my host mom, 3 meals a day. And my teacher bought me this guitar, which was so cool of her. That was so nice of her. And I watch a lot of movies. And I can't leave my room at all.
Germain's program professor was able to figure out an online alternative for him to complete coursework while in isolation so he can still receive course credit. He says he is lucky that he will be able to return to his group in time for departure back to Elon.
I'm glad that I'm not staying extra. But yeah, if people do get COVID toward the end, like that would be a really bad problem, because then you're not going to get back, until your 10 days are up.
Germain is not alone. The Global Education Center developed individual plans to allow each program to continue if students or program leaders test positive for COVID-19. Elon News Network has confirmed positive cases in other countries, including London and Ireland. Elon Jr. Erin Ponte is studying abroad in Peru. Due to the outdoor nature of her program, she feels less at risk of contracting COVID-19, but is still wary of the possibility.
I have to go back to school and get ready for next semester, and my sorority has recruitment coming up, so I'm required to be there and my flight has to go in. So if I'm delayed a few days, me not being there does screw up a lot of other people's plans.
Despite the risk of COVID-19, Ponte says she believes everyone in her program was eager to gain the abroad experience.
Yesterday we all climbed almost 17,000 feet above sea level, which is insane for me to think about. My professor this morning told us we were the first class to all make it up. Partially that could be because all of us were we have been in quarantine and we're so excited to journey out and experience what life is like.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Here's Melanated Melodies to play us out.
Every voice has
Tiller